I would like to share a reading from the Bhagavad Gita that actually this occurred to me just day before yesterday, and I'll explain why it came up. But I was visiting Tushki, Nayaswami Tushki, and our discussion of what I might speak about and what reading I would choose came from my discussion with her. And it says that this is in the 18th chapter, and Krishna is saying, "O Arjuna, the Lord is lodged in the hearts of all beings. His cosmic delusion compels them to revolve as though they've been mounted on a machine. O Arjuna, make him alone with all eagerness of heart your refuge. By his grace you will attain the uttermost peace and find shelter for all eternity. Thus has wisdom, the most secret and sacred of all secrets, been given to you by me. Reflect on it, and then do as you feel to do." Years ago, Swami Kriyananda, from time to time, living in California, from time to time visiting, in his younger life, when he was a monk, he lived at Self-Realization Fellowship in Los Angeles, and from time to time over the years, from Ananda Village, he would go to Los Angeles. And he enjoyed doing something that I had done when I was a child, and that he would visit the very famous amusement park, Disneyland. And Swamiji liked it. He liked to go there because it was very well done, and he appreciated something that was done well, and Walt Disney did a great job with that park. And so they had many things he could browse at and enjoy going there. And he'd like to, sometimes with devotees, a group of devotees, they would go. Now, I never had the chance to go to Disneyland with Swamiji personally, but as a child, and because I was born in Los Angeles and raised there, and as a child, so naturally I had visited there as well. And Swamiji once told a story about one of his visits to Disneyland. And he said that, just so you know, they have these amusement rides that you ride on. And some of them you would perhaps get into a car or a boat, and you would go through these tunnels and, scenery, and it would twist and turn. And of course, it would be somewhat adventurous. You'd feel like you're coming and all going to go over a cliff or down a waterfall, and there were things on the side that would pop out at you, and it would wind its way. Well, Swamiji went on one of these rides, and he was sitting in the second row. But in the first row, it was a boat that was riding and through this tunnel. And in the first row of the boat was a father, a family father with his children. And the front of the boat, the first row, there was a steering wheel there, like you could turn the rudder of the boat, I guess. And so the father, naturally, being the father of the boat, our father of the family, he took the position by the steering wheel and the children on the sides. And Swami was in the next row back. And Swami said he was very amused because as it was going through the maze, and all of a sudden, something would jump out, and the boat would turn this way, and it would turn this way, and it would go all these. He says the father, as he got into the boat, he was gripping the steering wheel harder and harder. And it was, he's turning as if he was turning the boat, and his children would sort of, say, "Oh, Daddy, Daddy," and he'd say, "Oh, I'm steering." And Swami got a very big enjoyment on watching this man so engrossed, as if he was steering the boat. Well, of course, he was not steering the boat. It was on a track underneath, and it was going where it was going. The boat was going to go where the boat was going to go, but he thought he was in control of that boat. but really, he was not in control of that boat. He was on, you might say, he was on the great karmic wheel. The wheel of karma, and you can see the analogy here, is we think we are steering our boat, and we grip it very tightly, but yet there's a wheel and something else is going on. And what the Gita is saying and what the scriptures say is that when we, as Krishna is saying, under the influence of the cosmic delusion, it's as if we're bound to as if we're bound to a great wheel. And to the degree that we are living in this consciousness of I am the doer of all this action, as Krishna would say, I am the doer, I am the one who's acting, I am in control. We're under this, you could say, this veil, and karma prevails. Karma prevails in our life, and it's guiding us. Now, of course, we are in this situation where we think we are in control, but underneath, karma has its sway on us, and it takes us this way and this way, but yet, in time, and we think we're in control of these things in life, but in time, we get a glimpse that, we're not really in control. And it reveals itself from time to time that, no, there's something else. I don't control everything. And this is, of course, when Tushki and I were speaking the other day, we said, yes, the time comes when we think we're going along and we're in control of a life and we're making decisions, but then all of a sudden realize, no, things arise. I'm not in control. There's a larger something else going on. And we have to adjust to that. And we see life in that other perspective. Now, I had nothing in comparison to Tushki's situation, of course, but in a minor way, I had an experience a little bit like this as well. As you know, I was called back to the United States because my wife's son, Davey, was undergoing a knee surgery. So I went back with and I made a mistake in this regard. I had a return ticket scheduled 5 weeks later, September 19th. I was supposed to come back. I said, no, it's a surgery. I'll get the return ticket. Unfortunately, a non-refundable one. And so I went, and she ended up, she had the surgery fine, and that went fine, but it became infected. Became septic, which was dangerous, of course. But then, so she had to go back in the hospital, and they had to open it up, and they had to redo the whole thing, and then complications after that, and one thing and another. I was in my mind. This was happening, and my mind was thinking, "Oh, this can't happen because I got to go back, and I've got my ticket, and I'm going to lose it." And frustration, I was in a little bit of frustration there. But then you realize, there's absolutely nothing I can do about this. There's nothing I can do. And so 5 weeks turned into 11 weeks. And at first there's that, oh, no. And then you just say, well, no, this is just what it is. And you accommodate. Now, question for all of us is, how fast do we accommodate? Because life is doing this in little ways and big ways for all of us, is to the degree that we are thinking that we really are in control, we're going to find that we're acting as from that position of, I'm doing all of this. And we don't recognize that there's that something larger at play. Now, the question, when we start to realize that there's something, we're not all totally in control, what is the solution to that? And You might think, okay, I'm going to grip the wheel even tighter. That might be one response. Oh, all this is happening. I have to even more forcefully make it happen my way. Now, this is perhaps the first reaction that, and then you realize, no, that doesn't always work. It doesn't work. And then you might say, well, I'm not in control, so why bother? I just won't even try. I'll just be passive. It's all my karma. I have nothing to do. I'll just let it happen. But unfortunately, that doesn't work either. It doesn't work either because, as Krishna earlier in the Gita explained, you can't not act. You can't just say, oh, and I don't have any role in this drama. I can't, and that doesn't work either. You're compelled to act. You have to act. And as we would say, as we have to act in this world, act in the right way. Because act in the right way being the way that will free us from this wheel that we're on. And also, when I was going to Disneyland as a child, and later on, I went as a child, then later on when I grew to be an adult, I went again, and it was always fun to go to Disneyland with a child, rather than as an adult. The rides when you're with it, you bring along later on, as I became married, I had children, take the children because they're on the ride, because they're very engrossed in thinking this ride is real. And when you're on the ride, when you know you're on the track, but you suspend that for a little while and sort of pretend that, oh no, we're going over the waterfall, and just at the last minute you're saved. The child, of course, gets very excited, but you have fun. It's fun. You suspend it for a moment, but deeper down that it's not really real. You're not going to go. You're in God's hands, really. And so to just renounce, I'm not going to participate, that doesn't work either. And so the question comes, what is the solution? We're bound on this wheel to the degree that we are in this position of thinking, I am the one that is doing this. Well, Krishna, I'll read it again. He gives the solution. He gives the solution here. He says, as though they are mounted on a machine. Think of this gears. All of these gears just being turned over and over again. He says, Arjuna, make him, with all eagerness of heart, your refuge. By his grace, you will attain the uttermost peace and find shelter for all eternity. Make God your refuge. And what he's saying there is, Krishna is saying that suffering comes not is that God is going to protect you, you might say, from your karma. Yes, or your karma is not going to come to you. That's, it could be moderated, yes, but it's not to protect you from circumstances or to eliminate those circumstances. It doesn't take away the challenges in your life. Living in God's consciousness doesn't remove challenges in life, but yet it gives you strength within. The real suffering in life is to be separate from the divine. Suffering in life is to live in a consciousness outside of God. And to the degree that we live in I am the doer, this ego, this is I am, we're living in a separation. And that, by definition, is suffering. Suffering is separation from God. Or separation from God is suffering. So find your refuge in God. And you find you remove that suffering, you remove that separation, and then you find find shelter. You're in joy. And so in that consciousness of God, whatever, that's how we overcome our karma. Not that the action stopped. Karma has its way. Karma is karma. But yet we are not affected by it in the sense that we don't suffer to the degree if we're not separate. If we're separate, we suffer. If we're not, if you're in joy, what happens outside of you, And so you can see, I was talking to Tush the other day, and she was in great spirits, and she was in great spirits. He says, yeah, these things come, the body, if you have a body, you suffer the consequences of having a body, and we have bodies. And so but yet, if our consciousness is in the right place, the rain comes, and you can make the best of whatever situation. And this is what I've seen in people who have lived their lives as devotees. They see that they are, it's to think that, I'm gonna pray to God that circumstances change. Well, that's a natural thing. It's better if you want to change circumstances, it's better to pray to God for those circumstances to change than to think that you're going to change them by yourself. Yes, but the real prayer is, God, come to me and be with me in whatever circumstances are. And in you, in your consciousness, I'm strengthened. You are my strength. You are my guide. And you find that whatever comes, it doesn't matter. You can stand, as Paramahansa Yogananda said, you stand unshaken in the midst of crashing worlds. That's what we want. The devotee is unshaken because God is your refuge. And that's what all of us want to do, is to live in that consciousness. And I've seen that devotees who have practiced that, meditate, bring God into their lives, think of God first and foremost in whatever they do, there's an unshakability to them that no matter what comes, they're happy, they're going to be joyful, they're going to make the best of it. And that attitude is good and wonderful and true in itself, but it attracts everything good also into our lives if we have that attitude. Because God you could say people go to where they feel joy. If you have that inner joy, it's naturally attractive in you, and you draw that to you inwardly, but also outwardly. And then finally, I like the way Krishna. I'll read again this third stanza that I read. He says, "Thus is wisdom, the most sacred and sacred secrets, been given to you. Reflect on it." But then he says, "Then do as you feel to do." He doesn't say, he says, "Do as you feel." I've revealed everything. I've given you wisdom. What he's saying, but it's your choice. You see, it's your choice, and we can face that light, or we cannot. We can think I'm the doer, or we can bring God into our life. Do it together. Sometimes people say, "Well, God, you do it." No, or I do it. Well, I don't want to do it anymore. God, you do it. Well, why not do it together and make God your companion in life? But ultimately, it comes down to our choice. But you can't wait until the big things come in life to make that choice. We have to practice. We have to practice that. They say that you're at. Oops, I'm going wrong. Sorry, I did you. But they say that those thoughts that you have at the last moment in life when you're passing, very critical because they determine, future. They tell the future incarnations. But you can't live your life one way and then hope that at the very last moment you're going to think you're going to change your consciousness at that last moment. You have to practice. And every day is a choice. Every moment is a choice. Which direction? And you do as you will. You know the wisdom, you know the teachings, but but then we have to make that choice, and we have to practice that choice in everything we do, and even in the little things. Don't worry about the big things. Remember that Yogananda used to repeat that saying. He says the minutes are more important than the hours and the days and the months. It's the moment by moment. That's where spiritual battlefield lies. It's right here and now, in front of us, whatever it is that's coming into our life. Make the right choice. And we put that pattern little by little into motion. And then when the big challenges come, it's just natural. We respond in the right